PMI data released today showed that UK construction activity suffered its sharpest downturn in over a decade in June on the back of rising Brexit concern, causing the British 10-year government bond yield to fall to its lowest level since October 2016. Well, let's see how that is playing out at the equities and currency markets. My colleague at our London studio, Juliana, has the details. Hello, Juliana. Good afternoon.
Hi, Chimmy. Good afternoon to you too.
Right, more negative economic data coming out of the UK. This time, it's the construction sector. How the British 10-year bond fell on this. How is the equities as well as the currency markets reacting to this?
Well, Chimmy, we spoke about it yesterday, and yet again, it's another knock to the construction sector. The UK Constructing Purchasing Managers Index, or PMI, as it's referred to, recorded a reading of 43.1 for June, which is down from 48.6 in May. Now, economists were expecting a higher figure of 49.2, which is just short of 50, although any figure below 50 represents contraction. Now, Jonathan White, the UK head of infrastructure, building and construction at KPMG, has attributed this fall to the UK's climate of indecision. He's been quoted as saying, last month showed evidence of the housing sector losing momentum, usually a principal driver of growth, and further evidence of weakness this month will inevitably put more pressure on the commercial and infrastructure subsectors to bear the weight, which indeed these figures have shown. Now let's look at the numbers at intraday. The FTSE continues its sedate climb. The all share is up by 0.53%. The FTSE 100 is up by 0.62%, and the FTSE 250 is up by 0.03%. In currencies, the sterling has taken a slump due to a sharp decline in those PMI figures. Down against the US dollar today, a pound will get you $1.26. Down against the euro by 0.27%, £1 will get you €1.11. And sterling is also down today on the Japanese by 0.30%.
Well, still in the UK, the biggest gambling firms have pledged £60 million to help addicts. Just wondering why they are doing this. Is it the fear of facing a ban?
Gosh, not a ban, Chimmy, but these firms are certainly coming under increasing pressure to act more responsibly. Now, the big five include William Hill, Sky Betting and Gaming, Bet365, Paddy Power and Ladbrokes. Recently, there has been an influx of criticism over the massive amounts of money these bookies spend in marketing to attract customers. The last available figures by Gamble Aware, the UK's leading gambling charity, shows gambling firms spent a total of £1.5 billion in marketing, and that's just for a year, which is a 56% increase since 2014. Now, £60 million may seem like an awful amount of money, but in reality, for these big betting firms, it just isn't, and only equates to about 1% of their total earning figures combined. Now, gambling addiction is quite a big issue here in the UK, and there are about 430,000 people with very serious gambling addiction problems. Now, according to the Gambling Commission, that's their estimates. The British government have said that the gambling industry has a responsibility to tackle problem gambling, and this contribution is doing just that.
Wow. In another development, the European Union and Switzerland have imposed new restrictions that affect each other's financial firms. Are you folks in London interested in this trading row?
This is an interesting story, and obviously all the attention is on mainland Europe. But listen, Brexit observers will certainly be keeping a close eye on how this plays out, as Britain is likely to be on the other side of the table at some stage in the not too distant future. Now, finance is, of course, a very important sector of the British economy, and access to customers in the EU is very valuable. It's also useful for the EU investment firms to be able to trade on the London Stock Exchange. Now, the row between Switzerland and EU both escalated after the EU said it would refuse to recognise the Swiss stocks market's rules as equivalent to its own. Now, Switzerland have, of course, fired back by banning almost 300 shares in Swiss companies, including big names such as Nestlé and Zurich Insurance, from being traded at EU stock exchanges. And it's that equivalence that analysts in the UK are paying close attention to, as many British firms hope that equivalence will enable them to continue to deal with the EU after the UK is no longer a member. So we're definitely keeping a close eye on it over here, Chimmy.
Sure. Well, this obviously is a striking deterioration in what has long been a close economic relationship, and perhaps, just as you said, might have an implications for Brexit. So let's continue to keep an eye on this developing story. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the day.